Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the afternoon show with Famida Chaudhary on Teachers Talk Radio. Today, we are diving into a topic that often works behind the scenes but has an undeniable impact on the success of schools, the role of HR in shaping the heart of an organization. So, how does the HR shape the heart of a school? We'll explore how HR professionals build strong school cultures, foster education, well being, and create environments where everyone thrives, from teachers to students. To help us unpack this, I am delighted to welcome Sylvia Ram, an HR expert with over 2 decades of experience spanning global organizations like Ford Motor Company and the education sector here in Dubai. Sylvia is passionate about creating positive HR experiences that transform organizations, and her expertise include employee well-being, talent management, and HR systems. Sylvia also recently delivered a TEDx talk sharing her personal growth through travel, a passion that reflects her love for learning and new experiences. Sylvia, welcome to the show.
Hi, Famida. I'm
Hi.
so glad to be here and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, and we are glad too to have you because we are looking at certain hidden aspects from the education sector. So, Sylvia, your journey into HR is so inspiring, and your passion for helping people really stands out. Let's start this conversation about the unique role of HR in a school setting. How does the HR in education differ from other industries? When and why it is so critical to a school success?
So, until recently, I would say like 5, 6 years ago, HR function in education was looked at as a very administrative role. It involved a lot of paperwork and compliance.
Mm.
But over the years that I've been involved in HR for the past 10 years in UAE, I can see that HR is, as a function, is evolving from being an administrative role. Now HR is the heart of organizational health. When I say that, I mean a HR person handles the employee life cycle, from
Mhm.
workforce planning to strategic adverts to a positive interview experience, onboarding, well being, professional development, career prospects to the exit of a person. So, from start to end, the HR carries the pain in the shoulders, and how we strongly take it forward kind of speaks of the organization. So, having said that, I feel so empowered in this industry, and it is such a creative role, and there's so much we can do to have an impact on how well your school is running.
So, looking at it, when you say it's an important role, Sylvia, I completely get it. When it starts the basics from the very first step of recruitment. And I think that self is challenging. And when I look at the education sector for that matter, qualifications is one thing, training or being trained or getting employees that are really top notch on their pedagogy is an additional thing required. So I'm so keen to know, when you have that control with you and the decision making of actually getting the school the right people, how would you go about it, and how, and for educators who are listening to us, it would be great for them to know that what does an HR look at.
So, first of all, it is strategic advertising. All our advertisement are aimed at attracting the right talent. So our values go as a message out to people to say, this is what we stand for. If you believe in this, then apply. So when
Mm,
I do the initial screening of any applicant, I look at their values, their passion, what they stand for. If that is aligned to our school and what we believe in. Second comes the education itself and the experience. So,
mm,
depending on which uh, subject I'm hiring for or which section of the school, whether it's primary or secondary, I look at the qualification
mm,
and their experience. And the most important thing is something, the buzzword right now is safer recruitment. We do a complete 10-year background check for every person who we potentially hire, and we get references from people who they have worked with in a managerial role and character references from people who have been their peers. So, this is how we ensure that we
mm.
have the right person for the right job and for the right school.
Absolutely, and I'm sure when it's not, it's a very tough job. I completely, when I look at it, you're looking at so many different things, and the amount of applicants might come in, or the applications that come in might be enormous. So that initial state of, or the initial step itself would be challenging to boil down to applicants who have actually the CV has matched your requirement, and then going forward. So yes, definitely this is one big time challenge that I think the HR is there. But as you said very rightly, that the advert is so very important. It has to be expressing the vision of the school, the mission of the school, and I think that is what takes it forward. So if you have the right advert and the right things that you're looking for, I'm sure you get those candidates. Moving forward is, I know the job doesn't just end there. You have recruited a few, candidates. Maybe you've screened them, had the initial interview, and then they are on board. So, from an HR perspective, what do you think, Sylvia, is still missing, or the HRs must do once the staff is on board?
So, what I do is I don't work alone, I work as a team. When
Mm,
we talk about well being of the staff, we look at seven strands. So, physical, social, intellectual, emotional, occupational, environmental, financial, and spiritual. So we look at a wholesome well-being program where I work with a team and we pick experts and enthusiasts in each of these strands, and we have programs through the year where we align all our well-being initiatives and programs based on each of these strands. For example, if we take physical, then we have ongoing programs in school where we give the opportunities for teachers to join small groups and work out together, or get an eye test together, or get maybe some basic health checkup together, or do a step count together. So when we talk about social, we give them an opportunity to get together, find discounted things where they can go out and unwind. Intellectual, of course, we have the continuous CPD programs that I work with the head of sections. Like that, I have a team of people who are constantly thinking and contributing towards the wellness wheel. So it is not one person working alone. We are working together, and we have a wholesome program where we cover all aspects of an employee's wellness, including finances. So someone who is coming new to Dubai can be easily carried away with all the bling of Dubai, as you call it.
yeah.
So helping them manage their finances, helping them save a little bit, and helping them find strategic accommodation or spend their money wisely is
Mhm.
something we do. So we invite a lot of ideas periodically from our staff, and we also have a team where we work together to cover the wellness wheel rather than just one module of wellness.
Oh, that's amazing. I think, so strategically organizing things and making the educators aware, or even also planning their finances. I think that's a great thing to know about. And being in Dubai, because it's a country that welcomes every nationality and people across the world, so this becomes, I think, really important. And of course, more responsibility to you too. So I'm so glad to know that currently the HR system itself is not only looking at the training aspect or professional development aspect, but the well-being aspect is so very well taken care of, and which is so true and so important in today's times, because of coming to a new place, new country, getting along with people. That's amazing. And Sylvia, I would go ahead with asking you if anything that has practically worked on, or any success story of a particular candidate that you can remember of and share it with us. Maybe she has, taken a flight in her career, but yes, you've been a big support as an HR.
So we, as a British curriculum school, we hire a lot from UK, and most of them are young and single, and they are setting foot outside their own country for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
So we take them through the journey right from the time they sign the offer letter. So we have constant communication with them. We help them find a good accommodation close to school. We help them. The onboarding structure itself is packed with a lot of information they get about the culture of Dubai, about the cost of living of Dubai. And we form a WhatsApp group with a lot of new staff and also older staff who can share their knowledge. And if they are coming with younger kids, to find the best pediatrician, all of this
Mm-hmm.
information goes in way before they are even on the
Stepping
flight
in.
to Dubai.
Mm.
And one of us, like the senior leadership team or myself, we pick them up personally from the airport and make sure that they are in their accommodation safely. So when they land in Dubai, they see a familiar face who
Yes.
they've seen in Zoom calls before, and that gives them that initial warmth. And we
Mm.
give them a welcome pack which consists of things that can get through them for the next few days. And we give them a prepaid card. We give where we introduce them to the banks. So our initial well-being pack is so focused on getting them comfortable to Dubai.
I think you've again pointed out the aspect of communication. That's so key, right? Yeah, I think if communicated well with clear instructions and expectations, that really helps and supports the educators. Well, moving forward, Sylvia, how would you like for a topic for today? If HR is shaping, it's the heart of an organization, and we are looking at developing that positive culture, not only with educators but to students as well. So, how do you feel the if you want to give out a message to the HRs, or your role really takes into consideration both of these, educators and students, and the positive culture around?
So I would say that we should take our roles as HR professionals, we should take ownership of our roles. Strategic thinking is very important. There are day to day tasks, mundane tasks that everybody has to do, collecting all the paperwork, doing all the government compliance thing, making sure everybody is in the system on time, the payroll, and everything. But we need to look beyond that. When you look at the larger picture, and
Mm-hmm.
break it down to smaller tasks, life itself gets much easier than we can imagine. So, when you talk about sorting out CVs and getting the right candidate, in the past 2 to 3 months since November, I would have sorted about 10,000 CVs. But again, when I know why I'm doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
my job of initially sorting the CV, how much of impact it can have on a well qualified, well experienced, and a safe person coming into our school, how much of impact the job that I'm going to do has on this whole process. If I'm aware of that and I'm excited about it, then the work itself gets a lot easier. So I would expect or advise the HRs to
Hmm.
have strategic thinking and look at the role as a whole, the
Taking
impact that they
ownership,
have.
basically. Mm.
Yes. So not look at it as a job, but
Hmm.
look at the impact we can actually have.
Absolutely, and I think when you said that independency or taking responsibility, that is something will actually put your 100%, your heart and soul to anything that you do. But yes, when it comes to the very fact when you said that it would be like 10,000 CVs that you're looking at it, and you might think like, what am I doing? I was like, out of that, I might have pulled out only 5 or 4 candidates who really match the expectation of the school. So it would be like thinking on the other side that, oh my god, I've spent so many hours doing just filtering things, and it might be like, some at a point you might think it's a waste, but no, as you said, right, that we need to drive that thing, that it is for a cause, it's for an organization, and of course we're going to look at the results and the progress later, when we see our children outcomes, our student outcomes, and then the happy moment that yes, this was the right candidate, and the children have also been what you say, fortunate enough to get such a educator, and that in that whole process, it's you, the key, who has actually got that candidate in school.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sure that
adding.
feeling would be really different, isn't it?
Yes, and adding to that, when we talk about students, uh, I don't work alone. Like I said, we are a part of a team.
Mm.
So I work constantly with admissions, marketing, and finance team. We call ourselves the functional leads, and we are exchanging notes on what thoughts we have to improvise every year. So when I'm talking to the admissions manager, we talk about how best we can get the best of talent into the school when it comes to students. How best my onboarding strategies can help the admissions to develop their onboarding strategies and what I can learn from them. Just like we have a new teacher coming in and how we need to make her feel comfortable, we also have to look at a new or hundreds of new students starting every
Mm.
year, or
Yes.
hundreds of new students leaving every year to universities or to other schools or other parts of the world. So we are constantly meeting periodically and exchanging notes and exchanging ideas and best practices to see how the entire school can benefit from each other's ideas and thoughts and make it a more wholesome exercise.
That's so key, and very vitally important, that you are connected to the school team. You cannot work in isolation. Of course, I think we take this point before we get into a break, Sylvia, that individuality, taking responsibility, having communication, and most importantly, collaborating with the team and being well informed with the team of the school, so that the vision is carried forward and the right educators are hired in schools. We'll take a quick short break along with the news, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading!
Meet USA Study, your one-stop platform for guiding students through their college application journey. Access up-to-date resources on universities, programs, scholarships, and application requirements, all in one place. Get easy-to-access tools, personalized timelines, expert tips, application templates, and exclusive webinars with admissions officers to help your student stand out. Visit usastudy.co.uk or call Phil at 0800 612 8271, because every student deserves the opportunity to shine with USA Study.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
A Schools Week exclusive reveals that a multi-million-pound legal fight has been launched by one of the biggest school management information system providers against a leading rival. 2 years ago, United Learning Trust lost a High Court battle with tech company Bromcom, after a judge ruled Bromcom should have won a £2 million MIS contract with the academy chain. Bromcom has told rival Arbor Education, which secured the deal, to pay £4 million, accusing it of making material misrepresentations over its finances that prevented it from being automatically disqualified during the procurement process. Arbor denied the allegations, saying schools should not have to fear being sued by their software supplier. Ministers handed United Learning £1 million to challenge Bromcom in what Schools Week calls a bid to protect the wider academy sector. In court documents, Bromcom claimed Arbor would have either ceased to trade or not been able to secure 26 subsequent contracts across 543 schools if it did not win the UL contract. Bromcom says it would have secured all or some of these deals, the basis of the claim, and that Arbor's actions unfairly disadvantaged Bromcom and undermined the principles of fair competition. The case comes around what Schools Week calls seismic change to the MIS world. The market share for Sims, long a sector dominator, has shrunk, falling 44% last year. Arbor's share stood at 30% and Bromcom's at 11%. It's not the first legal battle raised by Bromcom, as 11 years ago they took action against two councils, and in September, Lift Schools settled its legal battle with them. That dispute centred on the chain's decision to award a £2 million contract to Arbor. The Guardian features research which identifies poverty and SEND as the key influences on individual children's school exclusions and attainment, rather than race. The findings by a multi-ethnic team of academics from Durham and Birmingham universities challenge some views that children in some ethnic groups are disproportionately affected by exclusions and suspensions. However, the article also features responses from race and equality campaigners who argue that the research downplays the complex intersection of ethnicity and class that deprives many children of fair access to educational opportunities. The research found that once adjusted by free school meal eligibility or SEND status, there were no significant differences between ethnic groups in rates of exclusion or academic attainment at primary or secondary schools in England. The research used official records from the Department for Education for 2019 and was published in the journal Education Sciences. Full details of the Guardian article, as well as reported comment from campaigners, union representatives and the researchers themselves, can be found online. BBC Wales focuses on a story affecting many higher education institutes, with its coverage of plans to cut 400 full-time jobs at Cardiff University. The cost-cutting proposals could also involve course closures and department mergers, with nursing, music and modern languages among subjects facing cuts. The Cardiff University and College Union called the measures cruel and unnecessary and said it would fight compulsory redundancies. The University Vice-Chancellor has defended the decision to cut jobs, saying the drastic action was needed to avoid the university becoming untenable. She said the job role cuts were only a proposal, but insisted that the university needed to make different decisions due to declining international student numbers and increasing costs. A Welsh Government spokesperson said they were very disappointed nursing courses were part of the proposals, but that universities across the UK are facing a challenging financial period. The plans will remain in consultation for 3 months, with final plans for approval expected to be considered in June. Full details can be found on BBC Wales News Online. Finally, the BBC's education reporters cover a report from the Children's Commissioner for England, which says young people who took part in last summer's riot did it in the thrill of the moment. Dame Rachel D'Souza told BBC Radio 5 Live that judges should have the power to wipe criminal records clean where youths had done their time for some very silly things. She said interviews with children charged over the riots painted a more complex picture of why they became involved. Dame Rachel also told BBC Breakfast that children turned up to riots having been egged on by adults who were extremists. Many of the children she said she'd spoken to had ADHD and felt they had acted impulsively and then regretted what they had done. The report said at least 140 children had been arrested and 84 charged, with some as young as 12 being sentenced. Dame Rachel states that her report does not excuse criminality, but that her duty is to listen to children. Full details of Dame Rachel's comments can be found on BBC News websites, and the report can be found on the childrenscommissioner.gov.uk website. This has been Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
Welcome back after the break and the news for back to the afternoon show with Famida Chaudhry on Teachers Talk Radio. If you are just joining us, we are having a fascinating conversation with Sylvia Ram about the critical role HR plays in shaping thriving schools. Before the break, we explored how HR supports teacher well being and builds a strong school culture. Now, let's dive even deeper into the ways HR can drive professional growth, foster diversity, and adapt to the evolving needs of education. So, Sylvia, going forward, I wanted to know that as you, I'm sure, are aware that when you look at education itself and the development or professional training teachers have to get is evolving each day with the inclusion of AI, with the inclusion of advancement in technology. So, as an HR, how do you feel that yourself, I mean to say, how do you equip yourself and the team when of course one is that you hire, secondly also the existing team that is there with you? So I'm looking at, do you have like a kind of a cycle where you know, like a quality cycle basically, that I mean, where you all check in like how much are the teachers updated and what kind of trainings you as an HR receive to be updated?
So we have constant CPDs, we call it continuous development programs, that happen on a weekly basis in school, and it is driven by the leadership team and sometimes by the administrative team also. For example, last week we had a session for the whole school where we spoke about customer service and retention of students. So, how to manage parents when they come into the school, how to approach them, how to help them, how to talk to them. So, in a school setting, parents and students are our customers. So, teachers constantly get these kind of soft skill training and professional development, maybe every Monday that we have scheduled. So, it is a continuous improvement plan. And what we aim at is when a person joins us, one of the things we look at is their uh, interest in learning. So that will be one of the things that we look at in their values. In the from the time we interview the past 1 year, what initiatives the person has taken to develop themselves. So that's a very key factor we look at for hiring. So after they join, we want to make sure that they are growing as a person. And we have constant CPDs where we give them updated skills that are required for them to be a better teacher. And should they leave us, we want them to leave as better teachers to a better place. So that is something we ensure, and we do have class observations which happen periodically to maintain the standard of teaching. And we give very constant feedback to teachers and live feedback instead of waiting for paperwork. We give them live feedback where they constantly improve and they are constantly challenged.
I see that, if I have to just name that quality cycle as three C's, looking at consistency, continuous, and the constant approach. So, we are looking at those. I'm sure all educators will agree to me that when you are recruited to a school, it's that I like the way, Sylvia, you put it forward, that, when a teacher leaves, we want to make her a better teacher, a better educator, and she is in sync with this, with what is happening in the world around, and she's well trained because of these continuous professional development sessions that happen in every school. And of course, as you said, the lesson observations, I'm glad that you mentioned about it, because I think, I'm sure, as an HR, when they come in, you might have a kind of policy of the first, making the teacher more comfortable, also knowing the vision of the school, though the teaching and pedagogy might remain the same all over, but every school has its own vision and take on how the teachers should go with their students. So I'm sure that is also being taken care of. And yes, the continuous word is something that I think we'll take as a key, and keep ourselves in that same thing, that as educators we must continuously develop ourselves and be in par with it. I'm sure as HRs you too get that training, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's one of my conversations that I have periodically with my line manager. What have you done to make yourself well? What have you done to make yourself better? Because we believe if I am not well, I'm not going to be able to make others well.
Mm.
So, how I'm taking care of my well being and what kind of support I need, and how I'm constantly improving as a person, as a HR manager, and how I am looking at improvement for my team. These are conversations we have every 3 months.
Oh, that's nice to know, and I'm sure all most of the institutes should have this as a policy as well. So, Sylvia, going forward, I want you to share with us, all our listeners, as to what you feel is the vision for future. As an HR, what you look as the future of education, and what do you think will be the biggest shift in how HR supports the school and educators?
So, AI is going to play a major role. So, when I talk about sifting CVs and compliance, most of the mundane work is slowly taken over by AI. We have applicant tracking systems where we get only quality CVs coming into our inbox.
Ah,
And
amazing. That, I think that would be like a dream come true for all of you, I guess.
yes, absolutely. And we have HR systems which gives us constant reminders about any documents that are pending or anything that is expired. So all these follow-ups that we have to do
Manually.
annually is going to be taken care. Like every staff who joins us goes through a safeguarding course the day they join, and fire protection course. So all and child safety course. These courses are have a validity of 1 year. Few
Mm,
years back, I would be having an Excel sheet and sending out reminders and things like that. So now we have AI embedded in our HRMS, so these kind of mundane tasks it's taken over by the system. That gives me more time to think of how the human part of HR can be more prominent and can be more uh, visible, and
mm.
how that human part can impact the workforce better while all the mundane tasks are done by the AI. So this collaboration and working together with the developing systems is going to really give me the time and energy and the mental space to look at my job more strategically, to spend more time as a human being, and create a vision for myself and the role.
That's like fantastic. I will we keep talking about use of AI in teaching, lesson planning, and what not it can do for the educators. But again, it's always looking at the time management, and the as you rightly pointed out, that valuing your time and taking that human efforts will be needed for something else, whereas your daily task is taken care by the AI. So that I think that's something really great, but I'm not sure that whether it's started and implemented in many schools around, or it is here. But yes, it's a big takeaway, I think, where the HRs also have their role, taking in consideration the use of technology. That's amazing to know. And of course, last but not the least, Sylvia, just before we wind up, I wanted to know something that you really look forward for, like a message that you want to give to the educators, or a message that you want to give people listening to us, especially from your perspective, that can strengthen your role further and can support you in schools.
So, yes, collaboration is very important. HR is no longer an independent function. So, I would want all HR officers and managers here to constantly think about how they can collaborate with other function, and always constantly link their vision to the larger vision of the organization, and work together, and how to strengthen your presence in the school. That is very important. For example, time to time we have periods of time where a person joins, and maybe the initial period they get very bogged down. A change is not easy.
Mm.
So when you're starting the academic year, you're new to a new environment, a new place, new cohort of students. You get mentally and physically very tired in the first few weeks. So
Hmm.
what I had done is I had these massage sessions,
So
10 minute
nice.
10-minute massage session. So we had masseuse coming in for 2 whole
Wow.
days,
Yeah,
and teachers used to book 10-minute sessions with them and just get a back massage in a very calm environment. So we
that's so
dedicated a room, and we had brought in masseurs to do that. And just around November, when there was a bout of flu coming in,
cool.
and we had ginger shots and lime shots available all through the school, where the immunity boosters were given to all staff so that they can make themselves healthy. So these are small things, and even we gave out Friday t-shirts. So you don't have to wake up on a Friday and think of what am I going to wear today? Have I
Oh
ironed my
wow,
thing?
that's
So
amazing.
yeah,
I think people listening in UK would want to come run to Sylvia and join your school.
I'd be
Because
more than happy to entertain them. We are aggressively recruiting now, so I would welcome each one of you listening to get in touch with me. I can introduce you to Dubai.
That's amazing, Sylvia. I'm so glad. I think that's the vibe in Dubai. And we look at that human aspect. We are not like those robots, just hiring, taking things. That the personal element that you're just highlighting is so true. And I know many schools do it, but yes, you have a unique way of doing it. As you're looking in sync. We have a calendar. We have themed events and everything. But when you say, we look at the flu coming in, when you look at the things, that's so unique. I'm really really impressed with Sylvia, your examples. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaway to the HRs listening, and educators. You can definitely go back to your schools and request your HRs to have something where well-being of the educator is key. Because, and I think, if I have to add in, if you look at the well-being aspect, and if you take care of this, of aspect of the educators, where would you look at the outcomes? Student learning outcomes, because your classes will be vibrant, teachers will be happy. And as you also mentioned, Sylvia, that 3-month talk with your line manager, so if you're well, then it goes off well. So I think that is a key in our lessons, our classes also. If my environment is well, if everything is going on happy go lucky thing, and I'm sure that will be passed on to children as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would request every HR listening to this to not look at their function as an independent function and understand the role better, understand how much of impact our role can have for the whole organization, and how every small initiative that we take can make a big difference in the future of education, future of the students under our care, and the professional development of the staff under our care. If we have this kind of understanding, I think our jobs will be much more interesting and easy.
And absolutely, I'm so happy and that satisfaction there that we have such good takeaways. Today's conversations with you, Sylvia, it has been nothing short of enlightening. We've seen how HR is not just about hiring, it's about building relationships, fostering well being, and creating a culture where teachers and staff can thrive. From supporting educators' mental health to building trust and alignment, HR is truly the backbone of a school success. A school's heart lies in its people. When HR works to empower and support those people, everyone benefits: teachers, students, parents, and the wider community. Let's continue to build where everyone can thrive. Sylvia, thank you for sharing your expertise and insights. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, great schools are built on great teams, and HR is at the center of it all. Until next time, keep inspiring, keep supporting, and keep building thriving schools. Sylvia, if you want to say some last words, over to you.
I want to thank you for this opportunity. It was so refreshing to look back at my own role and talk about it. And I feel so proud and content about what I do. So, looking back and talking about my experiences has refreshed my mind. So, thank you, Famida, for this opportunity.
I'm glad, and I'm sure our listeners also have had that reflection time and future focused on some things that they will take away. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. That's in from me, Famida Chaudhry, from the afternoon show on Teachers Talk Radio.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.